I support and congratulate Yang Amat Berhormat, the Chief Minister, for his articulate budget speech and his success in getting a double-digit positive budget for the first time in the history of Sarawak, where 75% of the budget will go into development. This is in contrast to Semenanjung Malaysia's deficit budget. This positive budget does not eat into our reserve, but from the skillful ways of the Chief Minister by imposing 5% sales tax on our oil and gas. And this is better than the 20% promised by Pakatan Harapan, which until now we have yet to see any cent of it. Honourable Member for Kota Sentosa, MP for Stampin, do not seem to agree with this 5% of the sales tax imposed by the Sarawak Government. Honourable Member for Kota Sentosa must have got his mathematics wrong. How can it not benefit the people of Sarawak when this 5% sales tax amounting to almost 4 billion a year is shared among 3 million people in Sarawak and not 30 million people in Malaya? All it does is Petronas will make 4 billion less from the 15 billion given to Malaya annually. I am a Sarawakian, and I'm happy to know that we have an extra 4 billion. How can it increase operation costs? How can it increase the burden on the people of Sarawak? That was what our member from Kota Sentosa said this morning. I'm happy that we have 4 billion income, extra income in our state budget to develop our state's infrastructure. Sarawak is on its way to gaining financial independence under the capable leadership of our Chief Minister. Honourable Dato' Ahmad Speaker, Petroleum Development Act 1974, a device that although passed by Parliament, however, did not follow a substantive provision of the Federal Constitution and was therefore unconstitutional, null and void, and of no legal effect. Sarawak, under our Chief Minister, is fervently pursuing our wealth from oil and gas to be returned to Sarawak. And I'm happy to note that everyone in this August House supports this move. The recent 271 billion federal budget, where Sarawak and Sabah have only been allocated a miserable 4 billion and 5 billion respectively, only goes to show how unimportant Sarawak is in the eyes of the federal government. Where are the beautiful promises for an equal status for Sarawak and Sabah with Malaya? Where are the voices of objection and discontentment of our Pakatan Harapan members of Parliament? How can you all allow our new Prime Minister to get away with this disgraceful act of bully and disregard for Sarawak and Sabah? This is an insult to the intelligence of Sarawakians and Sabahites. I wish to congratulate our Honourable CM.
You give way?
Yep.
Tuan Speaker, thank you to honourable members. Okay, for 2018, the budget presented by your so beloved Najib was to Sarawak was 4.336 billion. For Tun Mahathir, he gave 4.346 billion, 10 million more. How come you people did not mention about all this last year? How come you did not bug about this last year? Now you are complain this year. First, Tuan Speaker, we will bring to Pakatan Harapan government, federal government, but ask GPS government to say PH government, federal government is bad, so they are now bugging. So because last time they could not get it from Najib, now they want to get it from Mahathir. Say that PH is better. Then we go and tell them. We are now putting this, Tuan Speaker, Sarawak is an opposition state in Malaysia. I'm trying to say, I'm trying to rebut him because he said 4 billion. Last year it was 4 billion. This year 4 billion, next year 4 billion. But last 2 years they did not say anything. Now they're talking about
You can say your piece afterward.
Yeah? Okay? So
Okay, proceed.
Thank you, Honourable Member,
Palawan.
for Palawan. I did not say the previous government gave us too much. But what I am saying is, you guys promised equal status for Sarawak and Sabah. You are the one who made a promise. You are the one who made a promise that we have equal rights. You are the one who made a promise that you give back all our oil and gas, our rights. And what have you done today? Yes, 55 years I agree, but you made a promise. Where is your promise? Where? Big talk, empty can. You make a lot of noise. Give back what you promised. Equal rights, equal status, integrity, all the bullshit.
Order.
Okay. Let me continue.
Order.
Let me continue, okay? I have said my piece, let me continue. The reason I wish to congratulate our CM. You are a lawyer, leave it to the court. The MACC has already investigated, let them do their job. Don't worry, we'll put the wrong right, no worries. I wish to congratulate our CM for his brainchild in successfully mooting the motion to have a consultative committee yesterday, comprising of members from all political parties represented by this August House, to advance and safeguard the special interest, rights and position of Sarawak as enshrined in MA 63 and the Federal Constitution, and to meet the expectations of Sarawakians for greater autonomy and devolution of powers to Sarawak. Honourable Dato' Amar Speaker, the Honourable Member for Kota Sentosa, MP for Stampin, talk about accountability, integrity, transparency this morning. I wish to remind our MPs not to forget the elephant in the room. Petronas, the biggest cash cow in the country, is immune from having to report to Parliament. Following Pakatan Harapan's promises to be fair and transparent, I hope that Petronas will not be immune but answerable to Parliament. I wish to remind Honourable Member for Kota Sentosa MP for Stampin, I'm sorry he's not here today, that Khazanah and PNB also holds hundreds of billions of dollars and do not have to report to Parliament as well. Where is the accountability, integrity and transparency that was promised before the GE14 and after our new Prime Minister took over? Where is this
Tuan Speaker, thank you. Tuan Speaker, I think he's a gentleman. I have to give it to him. But we have to understand that.
Honourable Member for Parliament.
No,
Since Member for Pakatan is gentlemanly,
Yeah.
so you must act gentleman.
and then I'm asking him for clarification. He's talked about Petronas, Khazanah, all this. But bearing in mind that PH took away of it after 5 but for the past 50 plus years, it was under Barisan National. Even PH changed. The system has to be changed. It's not that easy. Certain amendment to the constitution must be done. Would GPS and UNO support that? We don't know. That's why I'm seeking clarification. On the code of Khazanah, I think if you feel there's something wrong, lodge a police report. Yeah. GPS, you have members in parliament, raised in parliament, and there's substantial proof that there's something wrong, lodge police report, and embassy support it. Okay, thank you. Gentlemen,
Thank you, Member for Palawan. It's back to that same question, same analogy. You guys won the election because you made a promise to the people of Malaysia to be fair, to be transparent. Now I'm just asking that you stick to what you have promised to us, the people, to ensure transparency, credibility, accountability, fair and just. This is what you promised before the election. So you ask me, right, give us a time. Now Prime Minister is now the chairman of Petronas. He should not be the chairman, according to what you have said. And why are you guys all keeping quiet? You check the internet. You check the internet. He's, oh sorry, not Petronas. I apologize. I take that back. He is not the chairman of Petronas. He is the chairman of Khazanah. That is equally bad. Okay? Where is your accountability, integrity and transparency? Honourable Dato' Amat Speaker, our Prime Minister for 6 months, Tun Dr. Mahathir, visited China and saw for himself how China has grown into an economic giant in the span of just over 40 years after their open door policy. He asked Malaysians to return to help rebuild Malaysia, a country which Tun Dr. Mahathir said is at the brink of an economic disaster. Instead of spelling out how to improve this policy of attracting overseas Malaysians back, he returned home only to pass more discriminatory remarks on why it is important to continue giving special rights. If our PM is genuine in wanting overseas Malaysians to return to help Malaysia, he should have insisted, he should not have insisted on continuing with NEP, which Pakatan Harapan has also mentioned in your GE14, your manifesto that you will abolish this. He should practice a fair and just policy for all races and help all Malaysian citizens based on needs. You mentioned this in your Pakatan Harapan manifesto. Why is it not done? Pakatan Harapan had banked on the policy to win the election by stating fairness and justice for all, but after they won, many, including Pakatan Harapan members from this August House, kept quiet even when the Prime Minister's policies were against their belief. The new economic policy has been in place for decades and it has failed. We can see for ourselves how many poor Bumiputra there are in Sarawak. How is our PM going to achieve a developed status by 2020? The NEP was the cause of unfair discriminations instead of helping all the poor from all races. We are together in this. If any help is to be rendered, it should cut across the board regardless of who we are. I am saddened to hear that the Prime Minister had reaffirmed this policy yet again in the recent BBC interview. With unchanged policies, talented overseas Malaysians will not opt to return. Such unfavorable policies have caused and is causing many to migrate. So I can safely say that even though this is a brand new government, we still have the same old policies. When a government reaches out to help its people, it should do so to help those in need. We need the new government to provide good hospitals, good medical facilities, good schools, affordable education, and housing within the reach of every citizen. Job opportunities should be given to capable and qualified people. Competition shapes character. It will enable all to strive and work harder. Only then will wealth in the nation multiply. The private sectors are prime movers of our economy. The government of the day facilitates and regulates. Is this so difficult for the new government to comprehend and to implement? Honourable Dato' Ahmad Speaker, what a joke it was when the Federal Minister of Education chose to dwell on the colour of shoes instead of concentrating on working towards recognizing UEC. Let us not forget that some of the Chinese schools in the rural areas, especially Sarawak, have over 90% Bumiputra students. Teachers there were there to give their best and were never worried about who are attending their schools. They only strive to bring out the best in every pupil. Our late Chief Minister, Tok Nan, took one single day to announce and to recognize UEC in Sarawak. How much longer is the Pakatan Harapan government going to take to recognize UEC? Talk, 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 cakap-cakap sini, cakap-cakap sana. Until today, tidak nampak. You promise. Najib didn't promise, you promise. Accepting UEC. Yes, I back because you promised. Why did you make that promise? Honourable Dato' Ahmad Speaker, accepting UEC is a positive step towards making Malaysia a more inclusive and a more competitive country. Let me remind our Pakatan Harapan members in this August House that education is meant for all to pursue knowledge for the betterment of Malaysians and should not become a platform for anyone to play politics with. The Education Minister should know that UEC is recognized in top universities abroad, just like Tok Nan. He recognized it, but not in our local public universities. How silly and impractical is our federal education policy? And what is Pakatan Harapan doing about this? UEC students opt to go overseas because they were rejected by their own country. Then after completing their higher education, they look for jobs in their adopted countries and stay on. The vicious cycle continues. Year after year, we lose our brightest students to other countries.
You have 2 minutes more.
This is the main cause of brain drain. Honourable Dato' Ahmad Speaker, we are thankful that our Chief Minister, Dato' Patiki Abangjo, has reiterated that policies which benefited the state will continue. Sarawak is fortunate to have the CM who is a wise leader, a leader with good economic acumen, and who looks at positive changes in policy. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, Sarawak Pakatan Harapan can claim whatever they want, but the truth is that many projects have been cancelled since they took over the government. My Batu Kitang constituency Haji Bagi Community Centre and the upgrading of the hawker centre, costing only 2 million, have failed to proceed. Flood mitigation projects in Sarawak amounting to tens of millions have also been cancelled. Our Honourable Member for Parliament, our Parliament for Santubong, have mentioned that 250 million worth of flood mitigation projects have been cancelled. And this is the most important, the most projects that is required by the people in Sarawak, flood mitigation. I'm extremely disappointed that every day the federal government takes 250 million ringgit worth of Sarawak's oil and gas and still have the cheek to rob Sarawak of basic infrastructure projects comprising of roads and drains which are pertinent. Now, the federal government is talking about National Card number 3. It upsets me to think that billions could be spent on whims and fancies and at the expense of sacrificing funds for education and development projects. I wish to reiterate once again, do not just talk, Honourable Member for Stampin. Give us back our full autonomy on education and health. Let Sarawak decide our own education and health policies. Stop your play acting of 20% oil royalty. Just give back whatever you have agreed, 20% or whatever, the money give us back. We know, we will. Wait, I haven't finished. Just give back, okay? As Sarawak do not acknowledge PDA and the Territorial Sea Act, and Sarawak acknowledges full ownership of our oil and gas. Sorry, I've given you 2 chances already. I wish to point out too that Tadika Kemas in Kampung Payamabi, in my Batu Kitang constituency, is below flood level, and I hope our Honourable MP will look into this as well as its education. And besides that, erosion have happened and a lot of rock has collapsed in my Puncak Borneo area, my Palawan Council Puncak Borneo area. I wish that the new government will stop Sarawak siphoning 15 billion net profits in oil and 49 billion gross profit in gas from us annually, so that we can construct better road infrastructure for our people in Sarawak. At the council level, the federal government pay us 27,500 through Maris funds for maintenance every kilometer of council roads. The fact is that the actual amount costs 300,000 to seal 1 kilometer 50 mm. You come to see me in Palawan, I show you. It is no wonder that all roads in Sarawak.
You have to conclude in a moment.
It is no wonder that all roads in Sarawak do not have sufficient fund for the council to carry out effective and quality maintenance. Where are your words? Equal status, give us back. We want 100% of our oil and gas. Thank you. Thank you, Dato' Ahmad Speaker. But do you realize that it is the same person, Tun Dr. Mahathir, who was there, who created all this in the first place? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yang Amat Berhormat. We know those facts. We're not ignorant of that. We will admit that.